evaluating that?
No, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, it's you don't have your starting center, the anchor of your defense, one of the better offensive bigs in the league. So that's a blow, but at the same time, I'm grateful that it wasn't worse. When you look at the play, just one of those plays that should have been called foul. And then, you just kind of go from there. But I think for me, I'm just grateful that it wasn't worse. And, we'll look at it in another week to make sure he's ready to go.
You have a play like that where he takes a jump shot and he lands on the guy's foot. That's been such a debated call, whether he did it on purpose, whether he didn't. When you look back at it, are you like, how are you judging?
Look, I don't think we have a league full of players that are malicious when they make plays like that. I don't think Valanciunas did that on purpose, but it should have been called a foul. I look at the intent. I think his intent was just to defend the play. Sometimes guys slide underneath you just from their momentum. So I try not to go further than that just because I know Willie, I know what they teach. They don't teach that, and I don't think anybody, back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, I'd be like, in this day and age, I don't see guys playing that way. So I don't worry about it too much. I'm more concerned about, our guy getting hurt than anything else.
It's curious. Everything putting locked together. I'm thinking, well, I need this number of big, but then when something like that happens, we're like, thank God that we did that.
Yeah, I think when you think about the conversations that you have over the summer, it's just, it's a battle of attrition all year long, man. These guys are just going down because the ramp up has been so intense. The first 5 to 10 games, you look around the league, like there's a bunch of guys that have bumps and bruises. So when you put your roster together, I think you have to keep that in mind. We certainly didn't know we'd fall into Jock, but we're glad we have him. Unfortunately, guys don't get the consistent minutes that they want. But as far as team building goes, you need to have multiple positions. And then from this perspective, we have to have multiple bigs just based on the way we play. We like to have multiple athletic bigs that can do certain things, but especially on defense, being able to switch and guard and rebound. And it's kind of hard to replace DA, but we think we have bigs that do some of the things that DA does.
Is this a situation where Dario maybe can?
It may. You never know. The game will dictate that based on what we feel like we need to do to win the game. It could.
DA out the second half last night with Oppo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that was to kind of preserve the second unit rotation.
Not really. I mean, it was really about the physicality of Valanciunas. It felt like Biz gave us the best chance to combat his mass. I mean, he's a big individual. So it was really about that. There is some merit to Jock playing with the second unit, though. I think he and Landry and D-Lee and Campaign, they have like a synergy. And then Torrey and Jock, they're attacking the glass and causing some problems. So, yeah, to your point, that it wasn't the discussion last night. It was really about Valanciunas' mass. We needed Biz's physicality to try to combat that.
Wanted to check in with your back and forth with Kevin Young. The offensive rebounding numbers are way up right now, but you will most likely, of course, that the transition defense numbers have remained really good so far.
Yeah.
What have you thought about the look so far of getting more guys in?
It's a weird process to go that route, because the first thing you think that's going to be affected is the transition defense. But what we're finding out, and I think learning from other teams, is when you crash that many guys, it's hard to run, because those guys got to box out and it typically flattens out the defense. You do get caught at times on long rebounds and you go and you're behind the ball, and if somebody catches it and flow, they're gone. So from that standpoint, it can bite you. But so far, We like the trend. We like the physicality that we're bringing to the table. And we like the fact that, you know, if you can go into a game thinking you're going to get 5 to 7 more possessions, you'll take that. Because I don't know what that would equate to in points, but at least you have the opportunities in your bag.
Torrey's always been just one of the best in the league at it for his position. And I'm sure it helps to accentuate someone like him as well.
Yeah, I think it unleashes Torrey. It allows for him to use his athleticism. Last night he was rebounding and scoring, and that's huge for us. But he has a nose for it. We haven't done anything to teach him how to do it. Torrey just has a nose for the ball, which is a weird saying. I don't know why we say that, like nose for the ball. As I was saying it, I was like, what are you doing? But a lot of guys just know where that ball is going to end up. And the greatest I've ever seen was Dennis Rodman. I'd never seen anybody that could just figure it out. I'd heard he would look at the rotation of his shooters and figure out where the ball was going to bounce. I'm not quite sure Torrey's doing that. I think Torrey's he's just really good at finding the ball.
Coach, what are some of the things that you noticed about this young Rockets team compared to last year when you faced them?
I mean, they're about as dynamic of a group of athletes as you're going to see all year long. I mean, those guys get to the paint. They can play off the bounce. They take tough shots and make tough shots. Smith is a guy that's long and he can pick and pop. He can offensive rebound. Bringing Tate off the bench. He's a physical bowling ball. Like they just have a lot of physical athletic guys. And the one difference is having Eric in the starting lineup. You know, that's a different beast to deal with. You got those 2 young kids over there just flying by everybody, and then you got Eric who can shoot it at half court. And so they don't have Christian Wood anymore, but they still have a presence in the paint with Şengün, and his ability to pick and pop, you know, probably helps them as far as figuring out what they're doing in their pick and rolls. But I've seen a bit more solid defense. They're trying to shift and take away the paint a bit more than they did last year. And so, we showed our guys a little bit on them today. We respect what they do because they can score in bunches. When you watched the game last night, they had a bunch of wild plays, and you would think the game was like a 20-point game. You look up, it's a 6-point game because they just stay with it, and they're pretty dynamic in their scoring attack.
Feel more comfortable in terms of the different points of line. You have that nice drive kick to Lando this night.
Yeah.
It seems like he's making
He's just playing. I'd love to sit here and, mark it out for you. I just think he's free. He's playing without any limitations. He understands what we do. It fits his game. Like, we're not putting Landry in this environment and say, okay, look for this and this. We're like, go play. Just be free and go play. Because we know his intentions are for the team. And so when you see him out there making plays, it's just him. He works on it every day with Scalzi. But for the most part, it's just him playing free within the system. And I think it helps him to have an athletic big out there to play with because there's a threat to go to the rim for a lob. But his initial focus should be to score the ball. That's what we want him thinking. And if they take that away, I think he's good enough to find the options. But I just think he's playing free basketball.
Is Coach Young the type of coach to point out his offensive rebounding numbers to you in a joking way, a banter way? Or
no, because he's smaller than me. So just take the win and keep it moving.
I'm sure he's happy.
Nah, it's been great for us.
Yeah.
We did it in Philly. When I was there, we had a list of guys who would go and get back. We had go guys and get back guys. And when he came here, he was like adamant about it. And I was like, I wanted to get back on defense. And it's really helped us. Sometimes you just got to get out of the way and let people, do what they do. And it's been a huge asset to our program.
You say guys play free. The players still they want me to play free. There's that mind game inside of them where it's freedom, but if you mess up, then there's consequences.
We typically don't do that though. If a guy messes up, he makes a mistake. I mean, unless a guy is just like, it's like 4 or 5 in a row and those mistakes turn into a whatever run, then you have to make a change. But I don't believe in punishing guys for trying to make plays. I just think that's a bad way to play basketball. It's a weird way to coach. And I wouldn't want to play in a system like that. I think guys have to know that when they make mistakes, we're going to try to help them through it. We're going to try to help them correct it. But you can't say that you have a program where guys are playing free when they're worried about making mistakes. I just don't think that's a great way to play. We do have things that we just won't tolerate, but we just don't have a group that goes out there and tries to break those rules or those values that we have. The confines of our system. Sprint turn, compete, contest shots. Like everybody hopefully knows that it's hard to play here if you don't play hard. You know, if you don't compete at a high level, you're gonna have a tough time here. And the best thing that we have is our core top players all have adopted the system, and that's how they wanted to play anyway. So it really helps promote it throughout the team.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.